two.
Is this one on?
Yeah, go ahead, turn it on. All right, guys, we're about to go live very soon. Okay, they're not gonna because it's got stabilization. As long as I don't get in the screen here, guys, we're about to go live. Lynnette's checking the feed. Does it look good? Okay, now check. The next one is right next to it, should be Facebook. All right, that's all you need to check. Does it look good? Doesn't look small, does it?
I mean, yeah, it has the bars on the side.
Yeah, it's going to have the bars, but I'm asking, is it small?
It is small.
Okay, yeah, it's going to have the bars. That's what.
It's like that on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, it's like, that's the way they do it, you know. I'm just worried about it being real small, that's it. You need that there?
Yep. All right, let me know when you're ready. So your TikTok just got people on.
All right, guys, we're about to go live, guys. We're ready to roll with the hot sauce. The chicken and hot sauce, I guess. Got a little feedback. Just yeah, just turn the volume down.
All right. Whew. Lord, I'll be ready. All right, so happy Saturday. Hopefully everybody over there can see me. I think they can. Happy Saturday. My name is Lynnette.
Oh, you further back now. I had it framed. Did you move it?
I did not.
I had it framed so.
I did not move it. You gotta open up.
Okay, I gotta reframe this all over again.
Gotta open up the legs.
Go back over there, Lynnette. Okay, guys, we're still trying to get set up. Okay. Oh, can you do the legs for me, Lynnette? Okay. Now go back. All right, guys, we'll be starting soon. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, guys, we'll be starting now, I think.
All right, so happy Saturday, guys. My name is Lynnette. I own Lynnette's Cakes and Catering, as you all know. We're in the Washington, D.C. area. We do lunch pop-ups, catering, corporate catering, cooking demos, of course. And you all know I post throughout the week as well.
Keep going.
So today we're going to make buttermilk fried chicken and buttermilk biscuits. We're doing a chicken biscuit, basically. But I'm going to do some egg and cheese on it, really, really simple. So we're going to jump right into it.
Are you going to do that dessert?
So we're going to jump,
Are you going to do the dessert too?
It's the chicken biscuit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. So at first I have the chicken, and usually if I'm soaking chicken in buttermilk, I let it sit for like maybe an hour, but we're going to let it sit for like 20 minutes today. It'll be a quick little buttermilk soak. But you know let it sit for like an hour in the refrigerator, all right? So we're going to go ahead and season it. I'm doing very simple seasoning. Usually I put like garlic on it too, but Greg doesn't like garlic, so we're just going to do
I like garlic, just not a lot of garlic.
Not on your fried chicken.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Okay. We're just going to do nature seasoning and black pepper. But if you want to do garlic powder, onion powder, you can definitely do that. If it was just for me, I would definitely do that. So feel free to season it however you like. All right, so I'm going to do the same seasonings in the flour as I am on the chicken. So there's a little bit of nature seasoning.
I actually like seasoning salt on my chicken.
I don't have any seasoning salt.
No, I'm just saying I like seasoning salt. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's do some black pepper. Now, last time when I did my fried turkey chops, I did some Sazon too, but we're not going to do that today. So some black pepper. But like I said, feel free to jazz it up however you like. We're just doing very, very simple today. But season it how you would your fried chicken. All right, so I'm just going to rub my seasoning into my chicken, and then we're just going to pour buttermilk on it. If you don't want to do buttermilk, some people do like an egg wash, which is egg and water, maybe some hot sauce. Some people use mustard to coat their chicken and their fish. Have you like, yeah, make it simple and to your liking. Alright, so my chicken is looking pretty seasoned. I don't want to overdo it. I'm trying to cut back a little bit. But it's looking pretty good to me. These gloves break, guys, so don't laugh at me. I need a tray. I'll put it here. And then I'm going to pour the buttermilk right over top of the chicken. And basically the buttermilk just helps the chicken to stay nice and moist when you fry it. So you know sometimes chicken breast can be a little bit dry, but this just helps it to stay nice and moist. So you just want to cover it, you know, mix it all around. And then we also have our flour. We'll mix that up in a little bit too. So this goes off to the side until we're ready for it. And we're going to make our biscuits. Alright, so let me bring all of my biscuit stuff over. And I have most of it sitting right here. And we're going to walk you through. Now, I've made biscuits a lot of times on videos, on live, a couple different kinds of biscuits. We're doing a basic buttermilk biscuit today, which I'm sure you've probably seen. But if not, you're seeing it for the first time today. So let me get all my little papers out. Now, I use parchment paper to cover my baking dish. And I also use it to cover my work surface when I'm making the biscuits. So let's get into it. So right here, let's talk about what we have. I got my cold buttermilk. I have a stick of unsalted butter. If you use salted butter, just omit the salt in the recipe. And then I have my dry ingredients. So we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. You can do about a teaspoon of salt. And then I have about 3 to 4 tablespoons of sugar. I like my biscuits to have a little teeny bit of a sweet taste to it, so I add a little bit of sugar.
Sorry.
So I'm going to go ahead and just mix all of this together.
Sorry about that.
Can they see the bowl?
Yeah, they can see. I got it framed so they can see everything.
Alright, so once you mix all of your dry ingredients in, very simple. I'm going to use a box grater, or a little grater like this, to grate my butter into the dry ingredients. To me, it's easier to work the butter into the dry ingredients that way. You can also cut your butter into chunks, like smaller chunks, or you can use a food processor if that's even easier for you. So I'm just going to work it in with my hand. Some people use a fork or a pastry blender. And a pastry blender is a, I have one, but I didn't bring it over here, but it's a tool that looks kind of like a half moon shape, and you just use it to cut the butter into your flour and your dry ingredients. So I used it plenty of times in the past. I just didn't bring it over today, so the hands it is.
Shout out to my TikTok family.
Hello. Happy
Shout out
Saturday.
to my Facebook family.
Happy Saturday.
Shout out to the YouTube family.
Happy Saturday.
And shout out to the Twitch family.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Instagram in. But shout out to our family that are on live with us today. We really appreciate you guys.
So bear with us. All right, so I'm going to grate the butter on the larger side. You don't want to use the smaller side. It's way too small. So you just want to grate the butter on this larger side. Watch your hands. My butter got a little bit soft. Sometimes people put the butter in the freezer to make sure it's nice and cold and, you know, stiff enough. You definitely want it to be cold. It's still cold. I just had it sitting out for about 30 minutes before we started.
Can I get you to turn the bowl around just so they can see the butter?
Yeah.
I wanted you to leave that there. Bring it closer. See the butter, guys? All the mouth of butter. That's gonna make the biscuits taste very good.
All right, so let me get all this butter off the grater. There we go. I'm gonna put this grater over there by the sink. We don't need it anymore. And then sometimes I add a tablespoon of sour cream to my biscuits to make them even softer. We're not doing that today, but that's what I do sometimes. A little tablespoon of sour cream, even better. So here's our butter. You can see how the shreds look. And all I'm going to do is just work the butter in with my hands. So what we're trying to get to is a coarse consistency, and you'll still have some chunks of butter left over, but you want like a nice coarse consistency, and all of that butter covered in that flour mixture and worked into it. Now you don't want to do too much because your hands are warm, of course, and you don't want to start to warm up that butter, but you do want to make sure it's well incorporated. So I'm going to try to show you what I mean. It's really simple. Making biscuits is super simple. It seems difficult, it seems intimidating, but it's not. The biggest thing is you don't want to overwork your dough. I think some people feel like they have to knead their dough like you would a yeast bread. You don't have to do all of that. These are quick breads, and you don't want to develop too much gluten. You don't need to be strong. You need the bread to be nice and soft and fluffy and tender, like a biscuit should be. All right, so I think we're almost there. Let me see. Yep. All right, this is looking good. So I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of like a crumbly, kind of cornmeal-y, crumbly mixture with a few chunks of butter. It's kind of hard to see because of the color, but it's definitely like a crumbly mixture. Say it again?
Bring your hand.
Let me show y'all. There you go. So here's the, there you go, a nice crumbly mixture. All right?
Yeah, all you had to do is just bring your hand.
There's our biscuits. So I'm going to pour in this cup of buttermilk. Sometimes I put a little bit less because if it's too wet, I won't add all of it. But we're just going to gently mix that buttermilk into our dry ingredients. I'm going to add that last little drop. And basically what you're trying to do is make sure all of the flour is coated. You don't want any clumps of dry flour in the bottom of your bowl. Be very gentle. And it's coming together into a ball, okay? So let me get it off my gloves. And then we're going to go ahead and put it on our work surface and start to cut our biscuits. So this is looking good. This is a good looking biscuit dough. You see why I wear gloves? Because I don't want my hands to be covered in biscuit dough. So that's why I got my gloves on. Alright, so let's put these to the side. I have my parchment paper right here on my sheet. So I'm going to use the parchment paper to my advantage. I like to fold my biscuit dough, and that folds in layers into your biscuits. So I always have my paper available, which makes it a lot easier for me to work with. So if you don't have parchment paper, just use your nice clean work surface. It's totally up to you. And just get like a bench scraper, which is like a sharp edge baking tool where you can just lift your dough over. You'll see what I mean in about 2 seconds. Cutter in the flour. So just dust your surface with the flour. Put this back in there. And then I'm going to turn my dough right onto this surface, and we'll push it together, so don't worry about it being kind of separate. Alright, we're done with this. Okay?
Yeah, keep going.
So let me go ahead and push this together. So I put my glove on. These gloves break, guys, I'm sorry. They're a little bit too tight for my hands sometimes. And we're just gonna push our biscuit dough together. Put a little bit of this flour right on top. Now we can always add more flour. So you wanna start with a little bit, and you just use what you need. So I'm just gonna pat this dough out.
So what's the purpose of putting the flour?
Just to keep the layers from sticking. So you wanna make sure, first of all, that your dough is not too sticky. And as you're folding your dough and creating those layers with your biscuits, you want to make sure that the layers don't stick together as well. So it's just basically to help with the stickiness.
Just explain it.
And then we're going to fold it. So let's fold into thirds. So fold this one end over. If you see any stickiness on the side, put a little bit more flour. I don't have any stickiness, so it's good to go. And we're just going to fold this over to another third. Okay? So pat it out again. I'm going to do that 3 times. Now notice we're not kneading the dough like you would a yeast bread. We're not kneading it and doing all of that. So very, very little manipulation, okay? So pat this out. A little bit more flour. We're going to fold from the outside in. There's a little bit of stickiness right here, a little bit of flour, and fold from the outside in, okay? So we're going to do that one more time. So I said 3 times.
Now, why do you fold it?
That's how you create your layer. So some people, when you want those nice tall biscuits with those nice flaky layers, the layers won't be as defined once they bake, but that's how you get those nice tall biscuits with those nice flaky layers. So when I cut it, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. All right, so pat it out into a nice rectangle. And then we're going to take our biscuit cutter that I have sitting in the flour, and that's just to keep the biscuit cutter from sticking, hopefully. Now this is a pretty big biscuit cutter. I got this one because we're making sandwiches out of it. But if you're doing regular biscuits, you would use a smaller biscuit cutter. So I'm just going to use a bigger one for the sandwiches today. All right, so that's going to cut straight down. So when you cut straight down. You don't have to twist your biscuit cutter. When you twist it, you basically just cause those layers to kind of stick together. And a lot of times you'll end up with biscuits that rise kind of lopsided because you twist it and make them stick together. You have a biscuit that's like stuck together here but rising up on the side, and you don't want that. All right, let's see. So we're gonna get as close as we can to the other one, straight down. And I'm dipping after each cut to try my best to keep the biscuit cutter from sticking. Sometimes it still sticks anyway.
So you're dipping it in the flour.
Yep. And then I'm going to show you how the biscuit begins. You can
just incorporate it, and then I stop my mixer and fold my batter just to make sure everything is mixed well. It'll look like this. I'm going to spray my tube pan really well with some nonstick cooking spray, and then I'm just going to add in my pound cake batter just like I'm doing here. I'm going to smooth out the top and pop it in a 325-degree oven for about an hour and 40 minutes. Mine took a little bit of time to cook. Once it's baked, it'll look like this. Oh my God. We're going to allow it to cool, and then the moment of truth. You only want to let it cool for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's still warm when you take it out the pan. So I'm going to pat the bottom. We're going to say a little prayer, and we're going to see if it comes out. Y'all, I thought it was stuck. Lord, I thought it was stuck. I had to tap it a couple of times.
Give me a second, guys. I got this Facebook video playing in the background. Okay.
So with the scraps, I just gently folded them. I didn't like do too much to them. Some bakers don't use the scraps because they think that it's...
Sorry, guys. Hopefully I got you guys back. There was a Facebook video playing in the background. I apologize for that. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, we're back on track, I think.
So some bakers don't use the scraps because they feel like the scraps have been worked a lot already. But I find that if you do it after that first cut, they're always fine. They may not be as
the scraps you're referring to
the biscuit dough yet. They may not be as pretty as the other ones, but they'll be fine. So you're just going to push those biscuit dough scraps together. We're going to cut again. I'm going to try to get another. I'm going to flatten that a little skinny bit more. Now, because it is so big, you're only going to get about 6 maybe biscuits out of this batch. You may only get about 6. So let me just try to push this together again as best I can. Like I said, it may not be as pretty as the other ones, but it'll still be good. Here's another one. Now see, that one got a little dimple in the side. We're going to still bake it though. It's going to be fine. And I may be able to get one more biscuit out of these scraps. I may be able to. Let's see. I'm going to do one fold. Try to make it as flat as possible on the top. And then let's cut. Last one. And this one is a little different than everybody else, but it's going to be okay. So we got 6 nice large biscuits out of that batch. If you were making them smaller, you would definitely get like 10 out of the batch. But like I said, we made our biscuits bigger because we're making sandwiches out of them, so I want to be a little bit bigger. All right, so let's get rid of all this. Put it over here. The good thing about your parchment paper, you can just fold it up and get rid of everything. Nice and easy cleanup with a little bit of flour still on the table. And then I like to brush my biscuits with a little bit of heavy cream before I bake them. You don't have to. It just gives like a nice kind of glossy, crispy top to it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of heavy cream. You can also use milk. And just brush it right on top. I would say, do you have any questions? But I know we cannot see your questions. So I can't answer any. But I can go back later on and look at the comments and answer some questions. I can see them on TikTok though. I can definitely see your questions.
How can you see it?
If I look at the screen.
Well, I need you to stay in the phone.
I know. Alright, so I have my oven set to 375 degrees. Well, mine is a commercial kitchen, so it's really 350. But at home, you can do 375. Some people even do 400. And we're going to bake our biscuits for about 12 up to 15 minutes till they're nice and golden brown. Alright, so that looks good. Let me give y'all a close-up of the biscuits before they go in the oven. Got 6 great big old biscuits. Alright, so in the oven they go. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes because I like to start a little bit less and then I can check them to see if they're ready or not.
That foil is going to fly all over the place.
It's stuck to the thing on the side. It's fine. It's stuck to me. Yeah, it's got stuck to me. Alright, so let me wipe this down. And then we're going to fry our chicken. So hopefully the goal is the chicken, the eggs, all that will be ready at the same time or about the same time as your biscuits are ready. If it's not and your biscuits are ready before, the good thing is that you can fry the chicken. You can put the biscuit back in the oven to warm it up and get it nice and crisp, or the same thing with the chicken. So if it's ready a little bit off, you can always warm it in the oven or keep it in a warming oven on like 180 to 200. All right, let me wash my hands. Let's get this set up and we'll be good to go. We getting it, y'all. We getting it. I see we got a new follower on TikTok. Thank you. Thank you so much. Alright, so I have my oil heating up over there on the big stove. Let me bring my pan over here.
Excuse me, guys.
Hopefully the oil's nice and hot. Bring this right over here. Get this back on. And we're good to go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is bring the chicken. Remember we did the chicken and the buttermilk when we first started, and we did our seasoned flour. So I'm bringing those back over here now. Alright. So there's our chicken, there's our flour, we got our hot oil. We're going to do an egg too, but I can bring that over here after we fry the chicken, okay? Got my little thing right here. And let me get some gloves.
Pardon me, guys. I got a little bit of phlegm.
So if anybody was late, remember we seasoned our chicken first, and then we poured some buttermilk over it. Now I like to let it sit, if you can, in the refrigerator for about an hour, but we're doing it quick because we're on live. And then I season my flour with the same season I season the chicken with. So whatever that seasoning is for you, whatever you usually season your fried chicken with, if it's just salt and pepper, if it's seasoned salt and black pepper, I did nature seasoning and black pepper, it's totally up to you, okay? So let's go ahead and just mix that seasoning in the flour. Hopefully you all can see. We're going to take some of this buttermilk coated chicken. Remember, mine was only sitting for a good, like, 15 minutes. But pretend it was an hour. And we're going to put this chicken right into our flour. Get this oil that's nice and hot. Hopefully it's not too hot. I let a little bit of the buttermilk drip off before I add it to the flour. And like I was saying, if you wanted to use like an egg wash, you can do that, like egg and hot sauce, egg and water. If you wanted to use mustard, you can do that. It's totally up to you. whatever you have to help that flour to stick and get that nice crispy crust that we're looking for. Alright, so let's cook this chicken. Get all of this seasoned flour into our chicken. And once it's coated, it'll look like this. Alright? So let's test our oil. I'm sure it's hot. It's hot. It's super hot. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop our chicken very gently into that hot oil. And it usually takes about 5 or 6 minutes to cook. Oh yeah, this oil is nice and hot. I had it heating up on our big stove over there while we were making the biscuits, so it was ready for me. Got 2 more to go in. These pieces are kind of small. They may not be quite big enough for that biscuit, but we're only going to make like 1 or 2 chicken biscuits anyway. So. The last one in. There we go. Now you see I'm gently dropping them into the oil. You don't want that oil to jump back and splash you, burn your hands, or anything like that. So be careful when you're dropping your chicken in that hot oil. Let me wash my hands real quick, and then we're going to put this down here. Alright. So I have some paper towels, and I'm going to drain the chicken on these paper towels when it comes out. I got my slotted spoon to lift my chicken out. And you can see it's already starting to get a little bit brown. Okay? So I just move it around every once in a while just to make sure the pieces have room to cook. Got a little bit of space between them. And like I said, usually about 5 or 6 minutes, your chicken breast is ready. It really doesn't take long to cook chicken breast. Once it's nice and golden brown, it's usually pretty good. The 2 of my pieces are a little bit thinner, so I put those 2 in last. To give them a little bit less time to cook, or you can just take them out the pan first. Alright, cut this back up a little bit. I'm going to cut my fire back up a little bit. I had cut it down a little bit. One thing you're going to notice when you're deep frying stuff is your oil is nice and hot, but once you start to add in your meat, whatever you're adding,